Hello and welcome. We're about to dive into a problem that honestly drives so many growing businesses crazy: total software chaos. We're going to break down how you can go from juggling a dozen different tools to finally getting a single, powerful system that puts you back in control.
So let me just ask you something right off the bat. Does it ever feel like your own software, the very tools that are supposed to be helping you, are actually working against you, like they're just slowing you down? If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you're in the right place.
All right, so let's get right into what this problem actually looks like. We call it the daily software juggle. And trust me, if this feels like your life, you are definitely not alone. Millions of businesses are wrestling with this every single day.
It's that constant shuffle, isn't it? That feeling of friction. You're exporting a file from your sales tool, you're trying to import it into your accounting software, and then you have to go and manually check those numbers against some list from the warehouse. Nothing talks to each other. And you're the poor soul stuck in the middle playing translator.
And this whole shuffle creates some really specific, painful headaches. I'm talking about that endless, mind-numbing manual data entry. You get those costly, frustrating errors just because the sales numbers don't quite match the inventory report. And maybe worst of all, you have no single place to look, no clear, real-time picture of what's actually happening in your own business.
But here's the thing. This isn't just a daily annoyance. This kind of chaos has a very real and often totally hidden cost. The stakes for getting this right or getting it wrong are unbelievably high.
Now check this out. This number is what's really startling. 49%. That means nearly half of all projects that are designed to fix this exact mess, these big, expensive ERP projects, they fail to even launch on time. It just goes to show you how difficult this problem really is to solve.
But look at the flip side of that coin. For the companies that get it right, the reward is absolutely massive. An average return on investment of 340% in the first year alone. So the takeaway here is crucial. Yeah, the risk is high, but the potential payoff, it's completely transformative. So how do you get that incredible return and, avoid becoming another one of those statistics? Well, it all starts with moving to a single source of truth, one unified platform to run absolutely everything.
And one of the biggest players in this space is a platform called Odoo. The easiest way to think about it is like this. It's designed to be the central nervous system for your entire company. It connects all those different parts, sales, accounting, inventory, that used to be totally walled off from each other. And this table just perfectly illustrates how it works. Instead of having a separate app for sales, a separate spreadsheet for inventory, and a separate program for accounting, you have these things called modules that all live inside the same system. So when a sale is made on your website, it doesn't just ping the sales team, it automatically updates your inventory levels and creates the invoice in accounting. It all just happens instantly.
And just to be clear, this is not some small niche tool. We're talking about over 13 million users around the world who trust this platform to run their business. It's a proven, powerful solution that can scale from a tiny startup all the way to a huge enterprise.
Okay, but this brings us to the big, critical question. If the software is so powerful and it has millions of users, why in the world do almost half of the projects to implement it go sideways?
Well, first, it's pretty helpful to see just how widespread these systems are. This isn't just for one type of company. You've got manufacturing, banking, telecom. Businesses of all shapes and sizes are trying to solve this integration puzzle. The need for this is universal. Which, of course, brings us right back to this. If pretty much everyone needs it and the tool itself is totally capable, what's the missing ingredient? What's the thing that causes nearly half of these projects to just completely stumble?
Well, the answer, in a word, is expertise. Just look at this difference. It is night and day. Companies that try to implement these big systems on their own, they have about a coin flip's chance of succeeding, 53%. But the ones who work with an experienced partner, their success rate jumps to 91%. The software is just the tool. The partner is the architect who actually knows how to build with it.
So what does that expert-led process, that blueprint for a 91% success rate actually look like? Let me tell you, it's not magic. It's a structured, proven method. It really breaks down into these 6 key stages. You start with deep planning, and I'm not just talking about software features. I mean mapping out your actual business processes. Then comes that super critical step of migrating all your old data. After that, you customize the tool to fit your workflow, not the other way around. And crucially, it doesn't just stop at launch day. Thorough testing, proper team training, and ongoing support, that's what makes sure the system actually gets used and starts delivering real value.
Because at the end of the day, when you get that implementation right, the result is so much more than just a new piece of software. It's about fundamentally changing how work gets done in your company by automating all that chaos away.
And the impact is just staggering. We are talking about a potential 90% reduction in the time your team spends doing those repetitive, manual chores. Just think about that for a second. What could your team accomplish if they got 90% of their administrative time back?
And hey, this isn't just some made-up number. This is a real-world result. We're talking about an e-commerce business that took an order process that used to take a person 15 minutes of clicking and copying and pasting, and they automated it down to just 30 seconds. That is a massive improvement on a single vital task.
So we'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. If you could actually eliminate 90% of the manual, administrative work in your business, what would you do with all that reclaimed time? What new products could you launch? What new markets could you go after? How much faster could you grow? Because that is the real promise of moving from chaos to control. Thanks for joining us.